Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan P. Butler, and in this episode, we right a grievous wrong. So, as you may know, I have been working on a couple of different projects related to Star Wars Home Video stuff, right? I've been, of course, working on the sister series to this one, Star Wars Home Video Year by Year. And in doing that series, one thing that it winds up sort of forcing me to do is to work on my home video spreadsheet, the other project that I have going on right now. Because on the home video spreadsheet, I am tracking all the different items in my collection, but also slowly but surely making sure to note where they appear in a Saga on Home Video First Edition or Second Edition, my books, and where do they show up on From the Star Wars Home Video Library. And that is useful for Star Wars Home Video Year by Year because then in the description for that new series, it always says for more information about whatever this product is, see, and it gives a link to those episodes from the Star Wars Home Video Library, among, also talking about where to find them in the books. And in preparing for 2008, which I haven't recorded yet, but it's coming up relatively soon. I just recently recorded episodes for the latter part of the 90s and then 2000. I realized I couldn't quite find where I had covered the Best Buy SteelBook for the Clone Wars back in 2008. So it turns out that way back when in episode number 26 of this series, I covered the Clone Wars film and some of its initial home video releases. Yes, way back in the era in which the video quality was absolutely terrible, I was scrawny as heck, weird times, I guess. The almost unwatchable episodes now of this series. But I didn't bring up the SteelBook in that one. And then I looked and there were other times that things would come up where I would talk about the Clone Wars film and different releases, like say from Target or whatever. But every once in a while I'd make like a passing reference or maybe hold up the SteelBook from Best Buy, but never really gave it a focus. I even eventually did an episode, number 218, all about this SteelBook from the Netherlands and how it was really cool you could get a Blu-ray SteelBook of Clone Wars somewhere because prior to that, all we had in the US was a DVD SteelBook from Best Buy, which I even compared to that one. But still, I couldn't quite figure out where I would have covered that product specifically. And so I enlisted the help of the community. I've started using the posts feature on YouTube, and in one of my posts, I just asked, could somebody help figure out where this was covered? Because I can't find it looking through these early episodes. And 3 people stepped up, Matthew W. Humke, if I'm pronouncing that right, Humcke 3182, Nicholas Pearl, and Real Chrono Keeper, which would be Jonathan Confer, who was someone who was part of the Patreon for years. They all stepped in and did the work, as I had done as well, of going through those early episodes to figure out where this would have been covered, and none of us could find it. So unless we're missing it, I guess I never did actually cover the Best Buy SteelBook for the Clone Wars film from 2008, which should have been one of the earliest things covered in the series. So assuming that I haven't, that's what this episode's going to do, and right that wrong by filling that gap, which also lets me have an episode to point to for people who watch Star Wars Home Video Year by Year when we hit the episode for 2008. So, you may recall that one of the main ways you could get the Clone Wars in 2008, if you weren't going Blu-ray and you just wanted to go DVD, was this sort of standard 2-disc special edition. It's a 1-disc version and a 2-disc version. The 2-disc version, if you got it early, had that lenticular cover on it, but otherwise, it was just this underneath, and had a lot of bonus features listed there on the back. And one thing that was interesting was that of those 2 discs, you have your film on the first disc, and then you have your special features, if I can pop it off the spindle here, on your second disc. But the second disc also included your digital copy. And there was a slip for a code, long used, for a digital copy. But this was the era in which your digital copy code, this wasn't like I'm going to log into some system, put in the code, and now it's part of my streaming library kind of thing. You would put in the disc, it would give you access to that being on the disc. You would use the code on the website, and essentially it would give you access to what was already on your disc to be able to transfer it over as a digital file. In later years, having had that added to your library, yes, it could be streamed, but initially your digital copy was actually on disc on that second DVD. Well, at Best Buy, there was a version of that 2-disc special edition in a SteelBook, the very first Star Wars SteelBook ever, and the only one in the US, even to date, to be for a DVD release, not a Blu-ray or otherwise higher-end release. We actually get to show this two different ways. I can show it to you sealed, and I can show it to you open. I believe the sealed copy, though it's been a while, came from Matt Fry at that point where he donated a large chunk of his collection into mine. I hung on to the stuff that I could use, and then the other stuff, we did that first ButlerCon thing on the Star Wars Home Video group on Facebook, and wound up kind of donating that out to members of the community for the cost of shipping, just as he had donated it to me. But this is what it would have looked like back then on the shelves at Best Buy for $51.42. My goodness. So we have 2-disc limited edition, Best Buy and the price tag stuff, Best Buy exclusive limited edition SteelBook, the first animated Star Wars movie. Then the THX Disney Mastered stuff that you would typically see. Spine we'll look at when we look at the actual SteelBook in a second. And then on the back there is a J card for this, and the J card is basically the same information for the most part as what you would see on this version, right? The 2-disc special edition, but reorganized to go more with sort of the visual theme of the SteelBook itself. So you have information about it, quote, UPC stuff, Disc 1 information, Disc 2 information, some images, cast crew information, icons and whatnot, websites, various information here about the disc, legalese and all that, ratings and all that at the bottom. For what it's worth here, unlike a lot of future releases, there's really nothing much about anything related to the digital copy here in the text on the back. Of course, once you open it, take off the shrink wrap, take off the J card, this is what's actually inside. It is a DVD-sized SteelBook, so it doesn't match all the others. That was why a lot of folks wanted to find that one from the Netherlands here. But we have Rex there on the front with the title. The spine, you have Lucasfilm, Star Wars, The Clone Wars DVD, and then Warner Home Video logo down there. The back, similar to the J card, just without all the information. So you got the images going across, image at the bottom, cast crew information that can be a little bit lower, and a bit of legalese and whatnot down here, but not nearly as much information as was on the J card itself. You do still have the same kind of little slip for your digital copy code, and it's still set up the same way. Film with things like the commentary and whatnot on the first disc, and then all the other bonus features and digital copy on the second disc. But the discs themselves also have different labels to match the SteelBook, which we usually don't see in subsequent SteelBook releases. Usually it's just the same labels, just happens to be in a SteelBook. So there's your disc 1 there. The Clone Wars. Disc 1 doesn't say what's on disc 1, just says disc 1. Widescreen and all the info and legalese down there. Lucasfilm, Warner Home Video, DVD video with Rex there. Then you got your second disc here, Clone Wars Disc 2, Rex there, special features and digital copy, and then all the same kind of stuff down there. As for the inside of the SteelBook, it is just sort of a battle scene here. And that's basically it. That is what we have waited years to finally see on the show, because I, like a dumbass, didn't show it to you originally, apparently. So yes, you could get a SteelBook version of the Clone Wars film in the US on DVD, but that is the only time you could get a Star Wars DVD SteelBook in the United States, or at least one that has a DVD in it without some higher-end copy like Blu-ray, for example. I'm kind of shocked that I didn't show you this originally. I'm still baffled by that, but at least now we have righted that grievous general wrong, or perhaps a generally grievous wrong, or a general, you know what? Nope. We've now righted that error. If it really was an error, if it's not, buried somewhere in some episode that we just couldn't find. And I thank you for your patience for those who've been wondering, when is he going to cover that? I thought I had. Apparently not. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers, especially those who are incredibly patient.